What's up, YouTube? My name's Johnny Butters, and we are back with yet again another video. This time, overheating solutions on the Canon R5, and let's just jump right into it. Now, first on this list of 5 things that will help you deal with the overheating issues present currently on the Canon R5. Now, number 1, we're gonna take a big leap, a big jump. Most of you are gonna scratch your head, think this is absolutely insane. But what you want to do is you want to go to bnh.com and we're going to Google search, a certain camera, Canon R5. I think this is the right one. Let's see, Canon R5. Now, what you want to do is you want to click this little thing that says, you see how it says 1? What you want to do instead is grab 2. Or maybe 3, or maybe 4, depending on what you shoot. Like maybe Armando, in a film situation, he might want 4 or 5 of these. So let's click add to cart. And what's our total? Let's see what our total's like. Check this out. Almost $16,000. But you know what? Sure, I'll never deal with any overheating issues on a film set. Armando, this is the solution. All joking aside, a secondary camera is actually not that far-fetched of an idea, especially if you're really serious about the features that the Canon R5 is providing and you really want to get the best quality. You want to deliver maybe 8K to your clients. This is not too far-fetched. There's plenty of sports photographers, wedding photographers who have dual bodies. I was even considering an R6 just for photography and then keeping the R5 for video. So this is not too far-fetched. I know most of you are like, Johnny, you're insane. We shouldn't have to do this. Believe me, I'm on your side. But 2 cameras, it's not that far-fetched. Jumping into number 2, and that is to utilize the non-HQ modes, or the HQ mode that has the crop, the 5.1 sampled crop. Those apparently don't have overheating issues, and I think those are slept on. Now, granted, it's line skipping. People are not really, again, it's not like the reason people are buying this camera. But like I said in my previous video, if you're in a pinch and you need to get a shot, would you rather just sit there and wait for the camera to unheat itself? Or would you rather get the shot you need to get, and then maybe that take you're going to end up using is 5-10 seconds in your edit? Are people really going to notice the difference? Especially when you're most likely going to deliver on some type of social media platform? Again, I know this might sound crazy, but there's always ways around these cameras. All these YouTubers talk about learn the limitations of a camera so you can utilize it the best possible way. Why aren't we taking that same approach with the R5? Why are we instantly just willing to cancel it because of some overheating issues? Again, these issues are fixable, and we're going to get into number 5 because I think that's the most important part that I want to discuss. So on to the next topic. Now, moving on to number 3, this is kind of a theory of mine. Let's say you're shooting a video. It overheats. People argue that you need to let it sit for 20 minutes. You need to let it sit for hours. How about let's fool the camera into thinking massive amounts of time has passed by? So if you was to shoot a bunch of video, it overheats, turn the camera off, let it cool down for a reasonable time, maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes. Turn it back on, but this time go into your settings and change the date, like maybe jump past to the next day and see if you can shoot video. So for anybody who owns an R5, please test that in the comments below and let me know if that solution works. A very similar example is, any sort of software or even operating system like Windows, where it tells you to activate Windows. They give you 30 days to try it out. People used to change their clocks back 30 days or a couple of days so they could kind of trick the system into thinking, oh, it's not the 30th. Their time isn't up yet. So again, maybe another thing that's far-fetched, but nobody's tried it yet. Maybe it'll work. Moving on to number 4, and that is be aware of your surroundings and utilize what you have around you or what you brought with you to keep that temperature cool. So if there's shade, run to that shade if it's possible for said shot. Or if you're in, let's say, the desert, you don't have shade, well, you can utilize a hat, a cover to kind of keep the camera as warm as possible. Again, these are silly ideas. You shouldn't have to do these things. I totally get it. But for right now, this is all we got. And, there's mixed, opinions about the overheating. I just watched a video where the guy had 0 overheating issues and he was outside all day. He was taking photos, taking video. I'll link that video in the description below. Had no issues. And he came home and it finally gave him the overheating warning. And that's where the issue presented itself, was the cooldown time was drastic, like 6 hours. And that is just not cool. That's very unprofessional. That's not something you can rely on. That's more of, I think, the issue than the actual just record limitations. Because like I said again in the previous video, nobody's shooting 20 minutes of 8K raw. You just shoot a clip here and there, like a music video set. The max I'm shooting is 5 minutes. The song is maybe 5 minutes long, and then we're moving on to something else where it's a location, or I'm getting some B-roll, again, short clips, and then we're moving on. The camera's able to cool down. So for most people, I don't think they're going to deal with crazy overheating issues. But when it does overheat, it's the turnaround time of letting it cool off that I think Canon needs to make some adjustments to. And lastly, perfectly timing into that, at number 5 is the firmware update. We know it's coming. It's going to make the R5 at least somewhat better. They're probably messing with the settings, tweaking it, trying to see how far they can push it, where it's comfortable, where people are not going to destroy their cameras, literally light their cameras on fire. So I'm sure we should be expecting that within, I would say, at least 2 months. It's got to be soon, because people are talking about it. It is, as much as I'm a Canon guy, I'm not biased. It's definitely an issue, but it is. There's workarounds for right now until we get that firmware update. And like I said, we shouldn't just be bashing the camera. We should be applauding it, because there's so many cool features. You got the RF glass that nobody's talking about. It's a beautiful camera, and we just need to fix. Well, Canon needs just to fix a couple little quirks, and I'm sure we'll get that in a firmware update. And that has been my 5 tips to dealing with the overheating issues for right now, until again we get that 5th tip, and that is the firmware update. So anyway, another kind of quick little video, but I've been kind of wanting to do this, but I wanted to wait till more people get the camera and test it. And again, it's still like mixed reviews, depends on the environment, depends on how long they're shooting. But what most people, almost everybody, is agreeing on is that the cooldown time is significantly long, and that needs to be definitely addressed, because I think that's more important than just the limitations of recording 8K RAW for 20 minutes. I think people can accept that. What they can't accept is the cooldown time, because we don't have time for that on the shoot. We don't have 6 hours to just chill, like, hey, I want to just chill for 6 hours, like, because the camera's got to cool down. Like, it's unacceptable. So that's where I'm 100% in agreement. Like, yeah, Canon needs to address this. But until then, hope you enjoy these 5 tips. Subscribe, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your feedback, and yeah, see you in the next one.